Hello. Today I'm talking with you from my garden in front of this beautiful mountain named Shepherd. And I'm here to talk with you about the Thracena of Cannes. Now, just logistically, before I go on, I hope that the sound is better. I've now got another new microphone, which I hope is going to give us a better sound than before. And, you know, my apologies once again for things not being quite the way that I would have liked them to go out. Hopefully this one's a bit more listenable. So today I'm here to talk about the Thracena of Cannes. And for me, Cannes is the Nawal of wisdom and of power. It's the Nawal of the serpent, and it represents the lightning in our blood, the serpent energy, the Kayapa that flows through each and every one of us. This life force energy. And that life force energy, as many of you may have felt or know or understand, or however we want to put it, when we work with our life force energy, whether it's through something like Reiki or whether it's through something like martial arts or something like that, when we allow our life force energy, our Kayapa, to flow, it brings us wisdom. And, kind of like it's all about understanding how that wisdom can be used. Now, there is also something about unbridled power with the Nawal Khan, because it's a serpent energy. It can be kind of tricky in what it does. We're not entirely sure. It has great power. It has great wisdom if it chooses to engage with it, but the if is the important part. And so what we see in this Thracena Khan is 13 days of understanding how to use our wisdom and how to use our power, how to balance them accordingly. And in its highest moment, its highest aspect, the Nawal Khan can represent the teacher. And so the teacher is the one who shares their wisdom in order to empower others. So we can see that during the Thracena of Khan. It's like, how can I share my wisdom? What potential do I have? Because we're going to begin the Thracena of Khan on the day one Khan, of course, the potential. Okay, the number one representing the potential. It's like, okay, it's got the potential to grow into something. It's this little seed that needs water, that needs fertilizer, that needs the right conditions to grow. But what potential are we talking about? We're talking about the potential for wisdom. We're talking about the potential for power. We're talking about the potential to see through illusions. This is what can come out in the Thracena of Khan. Okay, now I want to go back to that kind of like idea of, kind of like, what flowers do you want to grow in your garden? Well, the ones, kind of like the ones that make you feel happy, right? So which flowers do you water? The ones that make you feel happy. So if we're talking about this one as representing a seed, it's like, what wisdom do you want to water? What power do you want to water? What application of power do you want to water? Because this may well come out on this day one Khan. It's about choosing the seeds of wisdom that you wish to bring to their fruition. We can also see, kind of like, this is the potential for empowerment. It's the potential for the sharing of wisdom. And so for me, the day one Khan may also be kind of like looking around and saying, right, okay, if I follow this path, what potential does it take me on? Where is this wisdom going to take me? On the other side of things. Kind of like, if something is seen as being a power or an empowerment. Now, empowerment can be good, but having power over others is not necessarily what, it would be not necessarily something that we would seek, as it were. But it's kind of like, what potential does this have, or what potential is brought to me by seeing through the illusions of others? What potential comes through working with this teacher or that teacher? These might be things that we might be looking at on this day one Khan. From one Khan, we then move into two Kamei. So we have Kamei the Nawal of transformation. We have, kind of the Nawal of death, the Nawal of the ancestors. And here, with the number 2, representing this very binary yes or no, 1 or 0, black or white, as it were, left or right, up or down. And so when we see 2 Kamei, we can see that there may be some very stark choices to be made. And for me, Kamei is about facing our fears. It's about going through the process, like standing up to what we fear. And it may well be in this Dracena of Can that we do that in order to gain wisdom. It may well be that we need to, kind of like gain our power in order to do so. Because sometimes it's like standing up to something that you fear. It's like you want to power yourself up beforehand. But there's also the 2 being about choices. It's a choice to face our fear or not. And the chances are, the way that I would see it, when we face our fear and overcome it, that's what brings us true wisdom. That also brings us empowerment. How powerful do we feel when, we're facing something that, let's say, facing a demon that's been taunting us for, lifelong. So for me, 2 Kamei may well bring those things up and may well bring them up in a very kind of like polarized way. It's like, right, okay, we doing this or not? Okay, do you have the power to face your fears or not? Kind of like how can you use that wisdom from the Hunkan? How can you bring that in order to help you to overcome your fears and transform? These may be questions that come up on 2 Kamei Day. Now, the other thing is that the 2 can also represent relationships and self-sacrifice. And it may well bring about some fears that you might have within your relationships because sometimes, of course, our relationships, well, these are where, kind of like our greatest fears come up. We need somebody that's that close to us to really kind of like poke the bits that nobody else can see, as it were, and bring up those fears. And 2 Kamei may well bring up fears within relationships. But of course, when we overcome those fears, that's when we can grow. That's when we can evolve. From 2 Kamei, we then move into 3 Kech. So Kech, the wilderness, natural world, okay? The mountain place, the tree place, the wilderness place. And here, connected with the number 3, representing the inner world, representing the heart. For me, 3 Kech is very much about going within. I like to see those 3 days as days to stay home, days to contemplate, days to meditate, days to look within. And here, when we see it with Kech, well, it's kind of interesting because Kech wants to be out there. It wants to be out in the wilderness and that kind of thing. But the 3 is asking us to focus within. Now, Kech, we can also see as the Nawal of spiritual leadership. It represents the connection that the spiritual leaders have with the wilderness. This is where they gain their strength. This is where they gain their wisdom. And if we see it like that, then 3 Kech may well be very much about finding the spiritual leader within. That's the way that I like to see it anyway. And, as we go through our life, I mean, we all need a hand up. We all need a bit of help and as we go through our path, through our life. And sometimes we feel like we're seeking a spiritual leader. We're looking for the guru who's going to give us all the answers that takes us through. Well, the 3 Kech is the one that's saying there's nobody out there. Not for you. This is all about what's going on inside of you. It's all about identifying that spiritual leader that's within you. And we can only do that when we we give ourselves time to contemplate. So whether you choose seclusion within your home or whether you choose to make your home in the wilderness, as it were, for the time being, 3 Kech would be a great day to go outside, to go inside, as it were, to get out into the wilderness, to go and find that spiritual leader that is within. From 3 Kech, we then move into 4 Anil. So Anil, the Nawal of ripening, the Nawal of brightening. And here, combined with the number 4, the number that represents the physical plane of existence, the number that represents the cardinal points. It's the material plane. And so Anil can represent brightness and ripening. It can represent abundance and joy. And here the four is bringing it really down to earth. This is about reaping the fruits of your labor. Things are mature. Things are ready. It is now time to bring the harvest in whatever way, shape, or form that takes. Now, obviously, with kind of like wherever we are in the world, maybe it's not harvest time. Well, okay, it might be coffee harvest soon here and cacao harvest and that kind of thing. But really, kind of like, what else do you want to bring in? Because Anil is about ripening things. It's about bringing them to their fullest expression. And here, it's with the number four. So this can be a very material day. I mean, at the end of the day, we are material beings in a material world, and we do need like those things to support and sustain us. We're here to celebrate. So it's a great day to be materially finishing your projects, and it's a great day to receive the material abundance that comes from that finishing things off. From four, Anil, we then move into five Toch, and as I often talk about, Toch being the one where we're giving back, having just received. So Toch gives us this opportunity to make a payment, to pay something off. And here we see it with the number five, representing the hand, representing our work. Now, as usual, on the bottom of the screen, you will see various organizations pop up where I would, like these are great people doing great things to help the people here. Wonderful place to be putting your energy, to be putting, kind of like some of your own work and that kind of thing. But this is all what we're seeing. Toch, the Nawal of the sacred fire, when we make the offering. The number five, the number of work, where we're, kind of putting our energy into it. The five and Toch is said to be a pairing that goes together. And so when we see it, it's going to be a day of hard work. I mean, there's that in there. It's the hard work in order to pay for what we've received. Now, we received it in Fork, Anil. Thank you, Anil. Thank you very much for this physical abundance that you brought to us. And Five Toch gives us the opportunity to tithe some back. How might we do that? What might our service be on Five Toch? It might be something which is very much about putting our energy into it. Now, of course, donations are always welcome um, to those organisations which I've mentioned on the screen and that kind of thing. But there's also that kind of like, right, okay, it's about going and putting your energy into a way of serving, a way of maybe serving your community, or a way of paying something back for what you've received. Okay, so if the opportunity comes up to, kind of like I was going to say, to do some manual labor to repay a favor or something like that on Five Toch, that's an opportunity to take with both hands. From Five Toch, we then move into sixth C. So we have C, the Nawal of faith and loyalty and guidance and law. C, the Nawal of unconditional love. And here we see it with the number six, representing family, representing ultimate stability. So we see six can represent the cardinal points combined with the above and below. It's about bringing the essence of the divine feminine and divine masculine into the physical realm to bring stability. It's also about family. Now, I mean, of course, we would say we have unconditional love for our families, right? Kind of like our families often, they can get away with more than anybody else would get away with because, blood is thicker than water and all of those cliches as well that are in there. But, kind of like C often comes along. It's sort of like it's tempting, right? It's temptation comes with C because, yes, it can represent the vices and yes, these temptations come, but like sometimes it's tempting to be conditional with our life. Sometimes it's tempting, kind of like taking us the other way. And it may well be that on 6C, something comes along and says, right, okay, you ready for this? Can you be unconditional with your family about this? 6C can also be this balance to our vices. It's kind of like there is something with regards to overcoming those things that would have had a power over us before. That might also come out on 6C. And of course, if C represents the law and C can represent family, 6C is a great day for resolving issues of family law, whether it's inheritances or whatever it might be. Maybe that might come up on 6C as well. From 6C, we then move to 7 bats. Now, this is starting a cycle which we're going to enjoy over the next 40 days or so. 7 bats, followed by 1 bats, followed by 8 bats a day of initiation. Bats representing the weaving, bats representing the creativity. And here with the number 7, representing endings, representing the old, representing finishing. And so I see this sequence: 7 bats, the old week; 1 bats, the new week; 8 bats coming together, the old and the new. And so it's about finishing off. 7 bats is about finishing off our creativity, finishing off a project or a plan. It's time. Okay, so maybe you've got, kind of like something, it just needs a few finishing touches, just a few more brush strokes, or just a few more movements of the shuttle to weave it. Finish off whatever you're creating on the day's 7 bats. Take it to its end. Now, the 7 can also represent being on top of the mountain. It can represent making our choices. It's like, what are we choosing to create? As we go from 7 bats into 1 bats into 8 bats, we're given this great opportunity, a new creation coming in. So from the pinnacle, from the end of what you're creating, it's a great day to be kind of like making a choice about what you're going to create next, to get it into your head before we get to the point of 1 bats where it's time to start something new. It's like, okay, what are you going to create over the next 260 days? If you've finished your weaving now, you've finished your video project, or you've finished your writing, or whatever it is, it gives you 20 days to think about, to make a choice about what you want to create before 1 bats comes in and you get to start. Okay? So have a think, have a look. What are you creating? What have you created? What are you going to finish off? And what new creation are you going to bring in? After 7 bats comes 8 ech. So 8 ech. Ech, the nawal of the path, of the journey, the nawal of the road itself, here combined with the number 8, a number of ceremony. And here when we see 8 ech, this is a ceremony to give thanks for our path. Which path? Maybe the path that brought me back here. Maybe it's all of the flights and drives and lancha journeys and bike journeys and tuk-tuk journeys that you've ever taken that's brought you to this moment in time. It's a day to give thanks for walking the path mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And it's a day to ask for a smooth path, a clear path, a path of peace, a path of love, a path of advancement, a path of evolution. Okay? 8F is the day of celebration of the path, to give thanks for everything that you've learned, all the experiences that you've had, and to ask for your path to be shown clearly to you. So 8F is a wonderful day to be making a ceremony in whatever shape or form you make ceremony, to ask for that path to be clarified for you. From 8F, we then move into 9Ach. So 9Ach, this is another one of these kind of like very interesting days. So we had 5 Toch, we got the kind of like the work and the work. In the future, we will have 4 Kech, which I see as this interesting day as well. 9 Ach is a really interesting day because we have Ach, the Nawal of the cornstalk, the Nawal of the corn itself, Ach, the Nawal of the spinal column and of leadership, a very masculine Nawal, combined with the number 9, representing the feminine and representing life itself. So Ach we can think of as being, rather like the benevolent father figure in the home. And then when we combine it with the 9, well, this brings the feminine essence into it. This also brings it to life. 9 Ach I see as a day of recognition of the female leaders within our community. I see it as a day when we can embrace our ability to stand up straight with that Ach representing our spinal column in order to bring life. It's about the support of life. Now, Ach makes us stand up straight, makes us do and say what needs to be said. Because sometimes that is what we need to bring life back to our place, to our people, or whatever. We sometimes we've got to have the unpopular opinion. We've got to say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done. Ach brings us the courage, the strength, and the bravery to do that. And here we see it particularly connected to the feminine. So, with regards to women, with regards to the rights of the women, maybe it's with regards to life itself, standing up for life. This is something that 9 Ach may well bring forwards. From 9 Ach, we then move to 10 Ish. So we have Ish, the Nawal of the Mother Earth herself. Ish, the connection to the shrines and the altars. And here with the number 10, representing the community coming together, making our agreements. So, of course, today is like 10 Ish is a great day for community ceremony. But it's also kind of like the understanding of how to connect our community to the heart of the earth, how the heart of the earth sustains our community, how to work at the altars together, how to, kind of like I always think about Ish days as days to show gratitude to Mother Earth, as days to show gratitude to our mothers as well. And how might we do that? Well, if we're showing gratitude to Mother Earth, maybe it's through clearing up what's around. Maybe it's through feeding the altars and looking after things. And here with the number 10, it's like, right, let's get the community involved. Let's get everybody up to the altar. Let's get everybody kind of like on the big tidy up around town or whatever it might be. So 10 Ish is a wonderful day to help to join hands, to come together, to come to agreements on how we're going to help Mother Earth, on how we're going to, like, let's say, repair damage done through working together, through working in community. From 10 Ish, we then move to 11 Tzikin. So Tzikin, the Nawal of the birds, Tzikin, the Nawal of the vision. And here with the number 11, that number 11, which can sort of go in many different directions, but can be highly creative because it's following a path that we might not have thought of following if we followed logic. 11 can be illogical in its way. We might not necessarily understand it, but it will show us something novel. And within that novel experience comes uniqueness and creativity. 11 Tzikin is drawing on the vision from over there and the vision from over there and the vision from over there. And if we never go look, then we're never going to get that vision. And so this could be a highly distracting day because Tzikin can be distracting in itself. Because, kind of like Tzikin can be about having our vision, but it can also about getting distracted by the shiny over there or the shiny over there. Oh, look at that down there. All of those kind of things that come with Tzikin. And then that's magnified with the 11. You can understand this could be a very, very distracting day. It may not be the best day for intense focus. That's not what it's about. It's about allowing your vision to go out sideways, using your peripheral vision to see what's coming in or whatever it might be, and drawing those different parts of the vision together in order to create something novel. From 11 Tzikin, we then move into 12 Achmach. Achmach the Nawal of forgiveness and of pardon. And the number 12, the number of life experience. I think 12 Ahmad is a very, very interesting day. The forgiveness of life experience. Now, I would say this is something that we probably all need to work on as we've gone through life. Kind of like if we've done our work, maybe we have, maybe you're all saints or whatever, and you've been doing your work as you've been going along. But I would say that for the most of us, things are starting to build up, right? There's stuff that we're carrying with us in our hearts, resentment, shame, guilt over something, or blame towards something, all of those kind of things. They're kind of like, we move on and we kind of like, allow it to be like, we're pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down, but it's still in there somewhere. And sometimes it surfaces. Sometimes that button gets pushed by somebody and they didn't know there was a button there. They didn't know that that was a sore bit. And it's our life experience. And so forgiveness of life experiences, forgiveness through life experience as well, because sometimes, it's kind of like, let's say we're, well, hopefully older and wiser as we go on. Sometimes older, but maybe not wiser as well. There's that part of it as well. And that may be coming into the Ahmad thing, because Ahmad is all about being a human. And yes, people say, well, I should think they would have known better by now. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes we forget. Sometimes we're just human, right? Hopefully, our life experience will guide us, and hopefully, our life experience will guide us to forgive ourselves and others and embrace the humans that we are. Hopefully, as we go through life, we kind of mellow down a bit. We become more accepting of those around us, as we know that we're human, they're human, we all make mistakes and that kind of thing. But where I wanted to go with the 12 Ahmad as well is, kind of like this forgiveness of life experiences. It's time to drop stuff off. It's time to kind of like say, right, okay, yeah, I know that happened. That happened in the past. I'm done with it now. It's time to move on. So look at your life experience of forgiveness on 12 Ahmad and work out, kind of like if there's something within your life experience that you're ready to let go of, to forgive and move on. And then finally, we end up on the day 13, Noach. So Noach, the Nawal of the mind, of the brain, of information, and of knowledge. And here we see it with the number 13, representing the ancestors, representing spirit. So 13, Noach, ancestral knowledge, is the first combination that comes straight out with it. It's a great day to be embracing that. But where does it come from? Does it come from books, or does it come from TV shows, documentaries, or whatever? Well, maybe, but also on 13 Noach, maybe it comes from there. Maybe it comes through spirit. Noach is the solver of problems. Noach uses its knowledge to bring things together, to help for problems to be solved so that we can move on. And here, when we combine it with the number 13, we're combining it with spirit. We're combining it with the ancestors. I often think of like the 13 opens a channel for things to come through. What's coming through? The solutions. So 13 Noach. Noach is a great day for divination. If you've got a problem, if no one else can help, then maybe you should call the ancestors. It's kind of like asking for that knowledge, that understanding, that problem solving to come through. So, yes, whatever problem that you might have, 13 Noach is a great day to make a meditation or ask for a divination, to ask for the solution to come through, because it's really coming through with the strength of the ancestors. It's a great day to be working with ancestral knowledge. It's a great day to be tuning in to that kind of thing. So, I hope that this has been of interest to you. I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful backdrop. I hope that the sound has been much better for this one. And I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Tihash. Thank you.